Thank you, Peter. It's so good to hear your voice and your humor and your meaning making. Um, I wrote down one of the things that you shared. When the buildings start shaking, courageous love takes over. And it is this very truth that I have also been sitting with this week. And I have a video that I would love to share with you all.
Many of you know that my partner Andy is a farmer, and so I'm out here at the farm because I've been thinking a lot about new life this week. I think it was Tuesday when I looked out my window and I saw those particular green shoots of a tulip or a daffodil. Actually, it's one or the other. I often can't tell. That strong green shoot, and it's the first green of the season. I think I had just started making coffee and was feeling a heaviness for what the day was to bring, knowing that it's hard to know what will be next week, next month, let alone even tomorrow. I was starting to feel the heaviness of the losses, of the loss of work, of the loss of life, of the loss of so much of what we have known to be true. And that's when I looked out my window and I saw the first green of spring. And that moment was a sort of comfort in these larger rhythms of the earth that continue. The way that spring is here, that spring is coming, is here. Hi, everyone. Andy, you in here?
Yeah.
How many sheep do you have?
In this field are like 165.
165 are about to give birth?
Yeah.
So most of them in here are pregnant?
Oh, hopefully, except there's three boys.
In times of great uncertainty, I often turn to nature. This ancient teacher that has lived through much chaos and disruption, much change and transformation, much life and death and life and death and life again. So one of the larger rhythms that we're all a part of right now is the transition of seasons. This week we celebrate the spring equinox. On Thursday marked this perfect balance between light and dark, a threshold moment from one time into another time. The spring equinox is this time of letting go of old patterns and planting seeds for new ones, both individually and also collectively. Maybe your old patterns have been ones of holding tight to your resources, and this moment invites you to plant seeds of offering, of giving, of generosity. Maybe your old patterns are ones of always being the person that helps, and maybe your seeds of intention is reaching out when you need help. History teaches us that it's times of great crisis that have the opportunity to catalyze great transformation. Some of the programs that many people thought were an impossibility a couple weeks ago are now seeming like some of the very viable pathways forward, like paid sick leave for all workers, canceling student debt, healthcare for all. What if now is exactly the time to imagine ways of being with each other and for each other that we maybe never thought was possible, that we maybe only dreamed about? New patterns of connection and care can be created and are possible. and could lead to a future where we are caring for each other better than we are now or have been able to. Here's what I've witnessed this week. I've witnessed the volunteers and leaders with our mobile food pantry very quickly come up with a creative plan to offer a completely drive-through food bank for our mobile pantry, which is this afternoon, so that everyone who needs food can get food. I witnessed our church agreeing to be the standing host for families experiencing homelessness who are in our Faith Family Hospitality program. This just got worked out this weekend. Instead of families having to move from faith house to faith house, we are opening up our building to these families and to the staff and volunteers of the Family Housing Network starting also today after the food bank, and they will be welcome to be there for as long as this continues. And I witness over 50 of you leaning in and stepping up to be leaders in our emerging community care circles. These are folks that will be reaching out to our entire community of members and friends and getting folks connected into localized neighborhood circles of support for everyone to have friendship and conversation and food that's needed and medicines that are needed and the spiritual care and deepening resources that we are all going to continue to need. And we had a training this week, and I want to show you a clip of them. They're stepping up to build these new patterns of care as a community, recognizing the new life that wants to be born, that is already showing signs of itself. None of this necessarily takes away the heaviness or the pain or the loss, either present or anticipated. It's just also true that in this moment of disruption, we have the opportunity to sow new patterns of connection with ourselves, with those we love, with a wider community. That's just also true. We also get to do that. And so what seeds for the future? What new patterns do you want to plant and then tend to? In the words of Arundhati Roy, a new world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing.